All right, here's another quick tip about flipping fixtures. I thought about it because of a change in version 3.3. However, this video is not going to go over that specific feature of it. It's something I've just seen new programmers run into. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up these fixtures here. And if we're out in the house, we're looking at that. So that's like downstage right. And then we want to move the lights to downstage left in the next cue. And when we go into the next cue, you kind of do this flip through 0 and then swing back out. And rarely is that desired. There may be a desire for that effect, but typically we just want it to maybe follow the talent from stage left to stage right or something like that. So what we'll do here is in augmented, I'll just zoom in on the fixture a little bit, and I'll go back to Q1, and I'll go forward, and you can see how it kind of, the tilt flips, and then it pans over to the correct position. And then if we go into blind, this is the blind spreadsheet view. So you see blind spreadsheet active. You can only see the spreadsheet in blind. And to get to that, you need to go through the format command here. And I'll choose fixture 3, which is one of the two fixtures we've got. And you can see how the tilt flips from negative to positive. And then the pan goes from negative to positive, although that's less relevant here. The key here is that because we're flipping the tilt, we are mandated to also change the pan significantly between those two. And so how this happens, I'll delete Q2 here really quickly. So that doesn't exist, and I'll go back to Q1. So now we're in Q1 with where we're at. And obviously what makes the most sense here is all I do is I take my pan and I change my pan to where it is. And if I record that as Q2, when I go between 1 and 2, it does exactly what we expect it to. However, for various reasons, you might end up in a situation where in Q2, so again, I'll delete Q2, go back to Q1, and get that up. And so I'll grab my fixtures 3 and 4, and for one reason or another, I end up with my pan and tilt positions at 0. And so then what I end up doing is I end up in a situation where I try panning first because it's logically the first thing you see, and then I tilt, and I'm like, oh, nope, that's not the way I want to tilt it. Let me tilt it this way. And so as a result, there is more than one way to give myself a little more travel distance here. There we are. So there's more than one way to get to that position at 57 and negative 61. But I could also get there at positive 57 and pan of 233, and it might even be possible, depending on the fixtures you have, to reach it all the way in the other direction. So we've now shown you multiple ways to get to this same place in the physical world, the 3D world that we live in, is that we can reach this point by rotating around with the same tilt. We can flip the tilt and then also still find that going this way or all the way around as well. And so those can end up with some really unintended consequences when dealing with just pan and tilt controls. And so here's what I learned early on. In fact, let's recall the current cue. Okay, great. So this was built the way I learned how to set my light position. So this will generally help you most of the time. So if you home your pan and tilt, what you want is to tilt first. We always say pan and tilt. I think that's a holdover from things beyond just lighting. But if I tilt my fixture first, there is only a downstage and upstage. I can only get to those one way, by either tilting negative or tilting positive. And the way this happens to lay out is the way I tend to prefer and think of my lights is I'm coming down, it comes towards me, and as I push away, it goes away from me. You don't have to set up your fixtures that way. It's the way they're set up here, and that's what makes the most sense to me. And so if we're looking at purely a tilt, there is only one way to get, in this case, to downstage or upstage, and so I'm going to come downstage first. And then now to get to that position, the shortest path is only a positive route to get to that position. And so now when I record that as 2, that's the easiest way to get there. Now, if I home my pan, is it possible for me to come all the way around? Depends on the fixture. Some fixtures you can't go that far around, but I might be able to go the other direction. Let's see. So if I'm from here, can I go all the way around to reach that same position? And again, in this fixture, not quite. Close, but not quite. And so when we're doing pan before tilt, we really are setting ourselves up in a situation where kind of if I tilt first, there's only one way to get here, and that's what you're going to want to use. And so now when I go back to Q1, oh, I've got manual values and the channel is selected. So let's go back to Q1. So in Q1, we're here. And Q2, we're literally just panning across the stage to the position we want to be at, as opposed to inducing a flip of some sort. And so hopefully that's helpful. Remember, tilt before pan, and you're going to avoid the chance for those unintentional loops.